he was like, so how does it feel knowing you'll never be as good as your sister? And like I had been talking about it to like this other girl too, and she was there, and she was like, she just looked at him and was like, don't you dare say that again.
Yeah.
But it was like really tough. Like it really did like hit not a good place, because I was like, that's how I feel all the time, that like I'm not going to be good enough.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the What's Your Life Journey podcast. I'm your host, Kira Miller, and today's guest, we have Megan Golden, who is a musician and a YouTuber, and we can't wait to talk with her today. To kind of start off the podcast, one of the first questions we ask is, like, who would you say that you were in the beginning of, well, kind of your life, but also like the beginning stages of not feeling good enough? Like, who would you say Megan Golden was?
Very timid a lot, very shy, and like wanting to do a lot of things, like having all these things like cool ideas, like of things I want to try to do, but just like wouldn't do them because just out of, fear of like just not, thinking that it's like, why even try,
right.
Because it's not going to go well, or like you're not good enough to do this. There's a lot of people way better, but also like anytime someone does something for the first time, you're not going to be the best at it anyways, obviously. But just timid and shy and like wanting to do a lot more than I was doing.
What would you say you were wanting to do at that point in your life? What were some of your hopes, your dreams?
I've always like wanted to pursue music and stuff. I love writing. That's kind of like what I love the most. Like I love singing, I love playing and all that stuff, but writing is probably my favorite of all of it. And I kind of would write some stuff, but then I would like never finish songs because I was like, oh, it's terrible. Like I'm not going to finish this because, I would just like, get in my head and be like, why even finish it? Because it's not, it's not good. And I like wouldn't show it to anybody or anything like that because it stood in the way a lot of songwriting, like just personally, but other things too. Like when I started wanting to perform, it took me a lot longer to do it because, I just put it off so much longer than like I should have.
Yeah.
For sure.
What was like kind of the moment in your life where you felt like this not good enough feeling just started happening for you? Like was there a specific moment, were there moments that happened where you just really, you kind of knew in your mind, oh, I'm a failure, oh, I'm not good enough? Like what were those moments for you?
Probably it started, like I'm very thankful that I grew up in Nashville, but it was very intimidating because everywhere there were just like amazing musicians and stuff, which I love that. And like, I'm very thankful to have been surrounded by that, but it was really scary because I was like, the best people move here to do music. And like, how can I compete with these people that are doing such like awesome things? But in, like, not a music aspect, this is just a story of, like, one time that, like, was tough for me. So, like, in school and stuff, I always felt like my sister was, like, she got, like, super great grades, and I was just, like, kind of the more, like, creative person who's just kind of all over the place, and like I wasn't the most organized person. Still am
Did
not,
you have to try harder for kind of everything? Like your grades?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and she she loved school, and like, which I didn't hate school or anything, but it was just it wasn't like I just wasn't as she so easily made like great grades, and like she was super popular, like everyone just like loved her and everything. And I went to a really small school. And so when I went to high school, I had been like nervous because I knew all my teachers, like they know her, and like, she did really great, and like all her friends that she knew were there. And I had been talking to one of my friends that also has like an older sibling about how like it's just like really tough because I just felt like, she was like, on like homecoming court, and she was class president, and she was like all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know, like it's just going to be weird for me. And so one of like my very first days of high school, like I was a little freshman, super awkward, prime of my like awkward phase, which I still have not recovered from.
Not even middle school was your prime? Really?
Well, okay, maybe middle school.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I was still, it was real rough. And I was like really nervous and like just not, good with like all the older people being around. Like I was just stressed, And one of the senior boys came up to me that like I guess, knew my sister or whatever, and was like, so how did, and he was kidding. Like, I really do think he was kidding. I don't think he, like, meant it, but in, like, the place that I was in, it was really, like, tough for me. He was like, so how does it feel knowing you'll never be as good as your sister? And, like, I had been talking about it to, like, this other girl too, and she was there, and she was like, she just looked at him and was like, don't you dare say that again.
Yeah.
But it was like really tough, like, and then like it really did like hit, you know, like not a good place, because I was like, that's how I feel all the time, that like I'm not gonna be like good enough. But you know, I realize she's way different than me, and like, you know, we're into different things, and we're just different.
Did you find yourself trying to follow her path because you saw her as successful? Because actually I did that with my brother, which is funny because like he's a guy, but I would see him being successful at sports, being successful in school, relationships, friendships, and I was just like, okay, if that's what success is, like I'm following his footsteps then. Did you see that with your sister?
There were a lot of things that like I did, like she played soccer, so I played soccer like all through, which I did enjoy soccer, but she was like for sure way better at soccer than I was. I just did it because, you know, she did it, so I did it. And like and there were like a lot of things, like I tried to be really good at school, and like, you know, but it just wasn't like, not that I wasn't like bad at school, but you know, it just wasn't who I was. But I think that like when I started doing more music stuff, that's when it got better, because I was like, okay, I'm not trying to like just do everything that she did, you know, I'm like doing my own, well, I'm doing like everything that like I enjoy doing, and it was kind of nice because there wasn't like that, not that there was a competition, like, because she's like the best sister ever, and like it wasn't
That's awesome
like that,
that you guys
but
have
like
a relationship.
She's super cool and like very supportive of like what I do, but it was just like nice because I was like, oh, like I can do my own thing, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, I'm doing something completely different than what she's doing. So so you finally, that's when you started, when you were doing music, that's when you really started to kind of find yourself and break off from who people said you were because of your sister. Totally. It was like really, really great, like when I started playing, and even though like I had similar obstacles in music, just because that's just how I am, but like it was really great because that's, you know, where I like found all my friends that I have, mostly are from music related things, and it just gave me something to focus on that I like wasn't, you know, it was just kind of my like thing, sort of. And so being in Nashville, where it's everybody's thing, do you ever find yourself trying to kind of be like everybody else? Or how would you define yourself within music? How would you say that you are unique? It's funny because I struggle a lot with like trying to find my own sound, because for a long time like I released an EP, and like half of it is super country, like very like, there's one song on there that's like almost like very like traditional country, and then there's a song on there that's very clearly a pop song, and then there's a lot of like in between stuff, and so it's kind of difficult because like I want to do like what's, you know, mainstream sort of course, and all that, and I kind of want to be like what other people are doing, but at the same time I don't want to be like what other people are doing. You want to do your own thing, and I want to do what I love, so it's like it's kind of hard sometimes, but like I've just learned to kind of just like write what I want to write, like what, you know,
that's all you can
what
do.
I want. Exactly. And like just get out of my head and stop trying to write what I think people are gonna like, because every time I write what I think people are gonna like, they never like it. But then when I'm like, I'm writing a song for me, and like I'm just gonna do it, and then it's always people's favorite song, and I think people can see your authenticity.
Exactly.
It's a hard word to say.
I know, right? Well, and I think the best part of doing something that you believe in is it makes it easier for other people to believe in you, because when they see your passion and they see you just being so excited about something, why would they not be? And if they wouldn't be, then maybe they're not supposed to be in your life, because that kind of sucks. But when you're doing something like creating a sound based on someone else's sound, and you're not really as passionate about it, people probably aren't going to be either.
That's so true. I think people see that so much, like, and I think people thrive off that because they want that for themselves. They want to be like passionate about stuff. So when they see it in someone else, it's like exciting to them, and they're like, she's doing like what she wants to be doing. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to be doing, which is a really cool like domino effect. Sort of. What
would you say in your writing specifically is like your unique message? Because I know you talk a lot, like, you know, about you're not feeling good enough. How does that play out in your writing? And how would you say that's like showing who you are in your writing, I guess.
Yeah, well, just like, yeah, not even like in the actual like what I write, but just like the process. It does get like really difficult sometimes because like I still, even though now I write a lot more, but it gets hard, and now I do a lot more co-writing, which is difficult when like you have to like learn to not be so scared, because it's like you'll get in a room with somebody and it's like you're silent for like 4 hours because like, you know, you don't want to like, because at first I would get so scared, like whatever I say, it's like it's not going to be a good enough line. It's not going to be like they're going to think I'm stupid or like I don't know how to write a song. And it's such a dangerous place to get into when you're trying to be creative, because you have to throw out things and you have to like do all that stuff. So it's like process wise, it's like definitely hindered me. But like in my music, I don't know, I write, I love like writing sad songs.
Yeah.
But
who doesn't?
Right? It's like that's when you know the prime of it comes out.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of, you know, just writing about I don't know, I do a lot of like relationship type songs, I guess everyone kind of does.
But if that's like your unique story with it, then
for sure. So that's what I typically do in writing.
What do you feel like are some of the kind of negative voices in your head that, because for me, I've got a lot of those that are just hey, you're not good enough, you can't do this, or you want to do this, but you're never actually going to be able to. What would you say are kind of your voices for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I have this thing where like I just get so worried sometimes about like not even what I like, because I enjoy what I'm doing. So it's like if it doesn't work out like with music and stuff, if it doesn't work out, like it's not, you know, wasted time for me because I enjoy it. But a lot of times I'm like, a lot of people have put a lot into what I'm doing. Like a lot of people have put a lot of time into like helping me like do music, and like a lot of people put a lot of money into like helping me do music, and like, you know, just people have been like, and I'm very thankful for that and like appreciate the things that people have done to help me get to do what I'm doing. But it's really scary sometimes because I'm like, I feel like I'm not like only letting myself down if I don't do it, but like I'm also letting down like a lot of other people. And like that's a lot of times like in my head I'm like, what if I just like wasted all these people's time and money, and like, you know, that gets really scary sometimes. And that's like a lot of what is like going on in my head. I'm like, should I like stop wasting, you know, of course I'm not going to, but like, should I stop like wasting people's time, you know, with what I'm doing? So that's probably like the biggest one, I would say, for sure. Yeah.
Who holds you accountable and who holds you up during those times?
My mom is great. My mom and my sister, we're like a very, very close family. My mom's like super supportive, but also she's like the best for like what I'm doing, because she's so like, do your music stuff, and she's not like in it, like she doesn't like do any like the businessy stuff. Okay. But like every show I have, she's like always there. She always is like, you know, like you did so good, and like, you know, gives me those words of encouragement that like, even though a lot of times I probably don't deserve them, but like she, you know, gives them when I need them, and it's like, okay, like I can do this, you know. And
it
like,
reminds you that I am strong. Okay, I am good enough.
Yeah, for sure. And like she's just really, really great with that. And so that's a huge one. And then a lot of my friends from like elementary, middle, and high school that I've just like grown up with, they've, since like I was doing school talent shows and stuff, they've always just been so like supportive and like excited. And it's cool because none of them do music. So like it's just really cool because they're so like, I don't know, they just get so excited about it. And I'm like, yeah. And it's just really nice because it's like, it's just good to have friends like that like are constantly like want to support you and like lift you up. And I'm like so thankful because it's like when I'm doubting myself, then they're like, you know, they'll just like send me nice things out for music, or, you know, I don't know. It's just, I like probably would not be doing music stuff like if it wasn't for that support group, because you know, it's just a lot sometimes. Yeah. And then having them like be supportive of that helps a ton for sure.
So how would you say then, kind of with their help and fighting your own battles within your own head, how would you say you are fighting those battles? And where are you at now?
I feel like I'm in like, I mean, the thoughts are still there. Like I still get like you know, really like scared and like really just like doubt myself a lot. Like, yeah, self-doubt is like a huge thing for me. But I've gotten better about like doing stuff anyways. Like, even though I'm like super scared to do something or like don't think I should do something because like why, like, you know, things like audition for or like try to book or whatever, or like even like setting up co-writes. I'm like, this person doesn't want to write with me, but but reaching out anyways. And like, you know, if they say no, they say no, and that's okay. But like, at least go for it. And
at least you're trying.
Yeah. So I've gotten a lot better than I was at just like giving it a shot anyway.
Yeah. What, are there certain maybe practices or, I mean, kind of mental practices that you do every day or every week or whatever that looks like that keep you in the right mindset, and like books you read, anything like that?
Yeah, so I do, one thing that like helps me get in the like right mindset is just like starting off my day with like just some kind of like silent time, you know, like some Jesus time, some like chill time, some like just sit there and like, you know, not do anything else, because if I get like on my phone, then I'm like, you know, going through social media, seeing everyone else
comparing
that's like
yourself.
Amazing. Yeah. And then you start comparing yourself. And so just like having some time to start off the day and be like, you know what, like, I'm not going to focus on like what like even my skill set. I'm just going to focus on like what I need to do to like pursue what I want to do today, and like how am I going to get that done, and just like focus on that instead of just sitting there like, you know, wasting time that I could be using to like get better or to like, you know, to try and do like these different things, and just like have just like a time of chill. Also just like fun songs, just like, you know, just start my day with like a fun like positive like hype song, you know, is always good. And
who's that for you, like that artist or that song? For me, it's Natasha Bedingfield. When I put on Unwritten, that's how I know I'm just like, I'm gonna have a great day.
That's always a good one. I literally all the time will go to YouTube. There's like playlists on YouTube that are like positive, uplifting songs or whatever, and that's like one of the ones that always comes up. There's sometimes there's like really weird random ones though, but yeah, there's always like Firework by Katy Perry is a classic. Good. You know, gotta have that.
Right.
But yeah, things like that where it's just like super upbeat, so it like kind of gets me like, you know, ready to like go for the day, but also just like a positive message for sure. And then I think that's kind of like it. I just sometimes like if I start getting in that headspace, I just sort of have to like, I guess there's not really like a thing I do, but I'll just be like, you know, just like take a minute to be like, remind myself like, you are like good enough to do this, and like you should do it, and like it's for sure not going to happen if you don't do anything at all. So you might as well like, you know, at least give it your best shot. So
how has your faith played a role in all this?
Definitely played a huge role, because it's like, it's interesting because like to me they like there's so many just like similarities like between like faith and like going after your passion or whatever, because it's like, I mean, it is faith, like to go after like something like that. Yeah. And so it's like very similar things of like learning how to just like trust like what's happening, and like, you know, even if it doesn't work out, like what's supposed to work out is going to work out. And like, you know, God's got your back. So like that plays a huge role. I'm like, you know, like even if it's not what I have like planned out, it's going to be a great, like whatever happens in my life is like going to be what was supposed to happen. And it's going to be awesome. And, you know, you just have to trust that that's how it's going. So like whenever I'm like really stressed, like that's a good place. And I can sense when I'm like getting shaky like in my faith, and I'm also getting shaky like with, you know, doing like music stuff, because I'm like, oh no, like what's gonna happen? And I just start worrying too much. And it's like, to me, a lot of times they just go so much like hand in hand, because it's both like trusting, just a lot of trust and a lot of faith in both of them. So it's a weird like merging of the two, sort of.
Yeah. Well, and I think one thing that I have realized in my life lately is that when you take that plunge and you kind of step into the wilderness where you don't know what's going to happen, there's a lot of uncertainty, and you have your own hopes and dreams, but I've noticed that God like meets you there and does his best work right there, and usually will create something way more spectacular than you could have ever imagined. Do you feel like that's kind of happened with you in your life within the last 2 years? Like, have you had a hope for something specific, and then because of your relationship with God, it actually ended up being something more extraordinary?
I'm trying to think, like, there's been a lot of times that, like, I just feel like just so many experiences that I've had, or like people that I've met, like a lot of, if what I wanted to happen with my music would have happened when like I wanted it to happen, like, because of course, like, you know, from the beginning you're like, oh, I want to do these huge like crazy things and
quickly.
And super quickly. But then like sometimes I look back and I'm like, I wouldn't trade like the experiences that I've had like in the past years that I know would not have happened if that was what my life looked like right now. Like the people that I've met and like I don't know. And I also think that, like, a lot of, like, for example, I think, like, my faith would not be where it is if that would have happened, because I wouldn't be surrounded by the people that have, like, you know, carried me through, like, the rough times in my life, because I wouldn't have known them, you know? And so there's a lot of things like that where I'm just, like, to me, those are, like, big things, and I'm, like, I'm glad that I have those like memories and like those experiences and know those people. So that's kind of a big thing for me that like I'm like weirdly thankful that it didn't happen when it happened. Like, you know,
right.
But you know, we'll just see where the future goes.
Yeah.
But
Because I feel like for me in my life, and this might not end up in the podcast, who knows, but I just like, I always wanted to have a certain timing for everything in my life. And when it didn't work out, I hung on to it way too tightly and couldn't let it go. And then I think actually since moving to Nashville, that's really helped me to like let go of whatever's in my timing and just go with life or God or whatever it is, just whatever is in his timing. And I mean, yeah. So I guess like how have you kind of seen that more recently in your life too?
Well, it's been weird for me recently because like with just graduating and everyone's like, you know, just like, you know, what are your plans? What are you doing? I'm like, I have no plans. I don't know.
Leave me alone.
Exactly. But it's like, you know, and that's, I guess, not really like that an opportunity has like come up from that, but like that's just kind of the place I'm at right now where it's like, I don't know. I just don't know at all. Like, I don't want to have like a 9-to-5 job right now because I can't do that with, you know, writing on during the week.
You can't
and
be
like
creative and have that energy.
Yeah, for sure. And like a lot of like weekends I'm gone doing like out of town shows this summer. And so it's just like, you know, it's just like, it just wouldn't work. So that's like one thing right now where I'm like, just like, trust, you know, but and then I'm like just started a new receptionist job though, so which that came out of nowhere too, which is kind of wild because I was like, I need to get a part-time job, but like I used to wait tables and I was like, I don't want to wait tables again just because like a lot of that's like nights and weekends, which is like when I usually play. Right. So I was like, I need like this job that's like 2 days a week or something. And like was literally saying that because I was like, that's like when I used to be in school. So like I'll still have more free time because I won't be doing homework and stuff, but it'll just be like the same as that. And then like weirdly one morning I was like up at 7 a.m. and I'm never up at 7 a.m. And like just I got a text from a place I used to intern at, and they were like, hey, the place next door that they do like a lot of like beauty stuff, and she was like, they need a receptionist to work just 2 days a week. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like perfect. That's exactly what I needed right now. Just like something so to like have, you know, another like job, but something that doesn't take away from music and stuff. So it just like worked out really perfectly. But it's kind of a wild story. And like also that she texted me like 7 and they were like, we need someone today. And so I went in at like 10 a.m. It was wild.
And you could cut whenever you wanted? Like you left whenever you wanted?
Yeah, they were just like, we just like need you today, but yeah, I just have to go for like 2 days a week, so it's like pretty nice, I guess. So
yeah, and money.
Yeah, you know? Gotta make a living somehow, right?
Yeah, true. So I guess with that, like just graduating. Yeah. I just remember when I recently graduated, and I ended up taking a year to just kind of figure things out because I thought I knew what I wanted, and then came to Nashville, realized I had no clue. And like completely, my entire life completely changed after visiting Nashville. So for you, when you just graduated, like what I mean, those insecurities might be kind of popping back up for you, right? Like what you were just saying.
For sure, because like a lot of my friends are doing, like, because my major was music business, and so a lot of my friends are getting jobs within like the music business like industry, which is great. And but I feel a lot of like, why I feel like it would have been easier for me to like do an internship, and like that's how a lot of them like got their jobs, like internship, and then like right out of college like starting to work. And I'm like, am I messing things up by like waiting? I don't want to look like I'm doing nothing like for these couple years, like while I'm, because I want to like give music its best shot for a while, and then maybe one day I will do something. But is it going to be harder for me to get a job because I like didn't do something right out of school? And is that like a mistake to pursue music for a couple years like before going into that, or so that it's been like, that's been a really tough thing. But I'm just like, just keep doing it, keep going. Like whatever is supposed to happen will happen. But it has been hard, like seeing everyone else doing that. I'm like, should I just like do that also? But I don't want to give up being able to do music. So
have you considered going into the business side at all then? Because that's what a lot of other people are doing? Or not really?
I weirdly love I did that kind of like as like a fallback plan, sort of like that. I chose that as my major, just kind of as, because the way it's set up at Belmont is like you have a business degree with it. So I was like, well, I can do like a lot of things with that or whatever. Nice. So like I'll major in that. But I like really enjoyed like the music business side, and I do think like, of course I want to do my own music, but I do think I would be very happy like if one day I was doing something else in the industry. I think I would be just happy being around it. I enjoy the business side a lot, actually.
It's nice that you have those options too, because there's a million things to do.
A lot of things
music
you
industry.
can do, which is nice, especially around here. So we're in a good place for it.
What do you think is maybe that path that you would want to take if you do go into the business side?
That is a good question. I really liked, I don't know if I would, well, of course, I'm like, I don't know if I would be good at it. But
you don't know until you try.
Of course, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
But artist management, I really, really enjoyed that a lot. I kind of actually really liked my publishing class too, but my teacher was just really cool, so that might have been part of it. But artist management, I really enjoyed venue management too. I think that could be pretty fun. Yeah. But I don't know, just something like I would love to still be doing something kind of like creative, even if it was like like working on like branding artists or like I don't know, things like that, or like coming up with like almost like marketing plan type things for them and stuff. I think that would be really, really fun, and I enjoyed a lot of like the classes that I did surrounding that. So I think something like that would be something I would be interested in. But it's just fun to be around music and around people that do music and stuff. So
and the creative part of the business is just like, to me, I mean, I was never an artist, like musician, anything like that. Yeah. So to me, my creativity was always through a strategy, through writing or like storytelling like this. But I really found that you can be so creative in strategy, which is weird because strategy is like organization. So it's almost like the opposite of creativity. And sometimes people actually think they're like, oh, because you're so organized, you can be good at strategy. And like, that's all you get to do. You don't get to do creative stuff, which is kind of hard. But it's like, no, there's so much creativity in strategy, like marketing.
It's so true, because you have to come up with like these, it's not just like a set thing you have to do. It's like you have to figure out like fun ways to like make something work, and like it's very creative. But a lot of people, they don't really view it that way. But it's a very creative process for sure.
So now that you like do want to do music, and you feel like, I mean, I feel like you've made a lot of incredible connections while you've lived here and stuff, just from knowing like who you know. What is kind of like your big dream with it all? Is it to be on a certain stage, or is it to like do something even more impactful and meaningful with your music? Like, what does that look like for you?
I would love, to like be able to perform like for, a lot of people. That would be really fun. Right. But I also just like, even just on the writing side, I love like writing something that I feel like says something that someone else wanted to say, but like they didn't know how or like they couldn't. Like that's my favorite thing is when someone like comes up to me and like talks about a lyric in a song that's like very personal to them, and it's like it was personal to me, but like by being like by like letting them into what I was feeling, that like explained what they were trying to say, if that makes sense. So like I love that, and like I think just that would I would be so content just like writing, even if it was for other artists. Like I just love people hearing a song like, you know, somewhere, wherever, whoever it is, and just being like, that makes so much sense, and like I would have never said it like that, and I couldn't have said it like that, but like that's what I feel. And like so that's like my biggest like passion within the world of music, I guess. So that's something that is definitely would be like, I would be so content just like doing that for sure.
When you're writing with other people, is that hard? Like when you're writing for someone else specifically, like, and not your own project, is that kind of weird? Because you're kind of putting your own opinion into like someone else's art, which to me is like hard.
It's a very difficult thing. The best thing, it's so difficult because it's like, you know, figuring out their sound, but also figuring out like what would they say and like what wouldn't they say, and what's, if they're writing a song that they want to put out, then most people, not everyone, a lot of people don't care, but a lot of people want it to be personal to what they have. So it is kind of like, it is difficult, but it's so much easier too when I'm doing it like with friends that we like kind of just like really talk about like whatever we're writing the song about, and like just really, so I like kind of get the story and like can kind of feel it like myself, and then that helps a lot to be able to do that, and then we can do it. But it's tough, especially because sometimes like you don't really know. Sometimes like I'll go to a write and it's like we're both artists, so we don't know who we're really writing the song for. We're just kind of going for it. So then it's like, you know, it's just you like I have something very personal, so I don't want to have like this other thing that's not part of like my story, even though it's like a, you know, it's just like a weird thing. But you know, sometimes you just
gotta do it.
Just gotta do it, I guess. Yeah. It is weird.
That's like probably a fear too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's all kinds of fears.
I know, right?
So many. But it's tough. And that is like, I wrote a lot by myself for so long because I was just like, I don't like, you know, when stuff's really personal, it's just hard. Like there are some songs I'm like, I don't mind, you know, like changes or whatever, but there's some stuff I'm like, you know, like, this is my baby. Like, don't rip it apart. It's really hard, but, you know, sometimes you got to let it happen. Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah. So what are kind of some courageous steps that you feel like you have taken recently or will be taking recently now that you are out of school and now that you're kind of in this wilderness phase where you don't really know what's going to happen?
Yeah. So some things that have been, like, I've, like, good for me, just like I've gotten just reaching out to people that like I've been friends with and I know are like awesome writers and like are writing like big songs for people and like actually reaching out and just being like, hey, like would you write for me? And like people are so nice, like most people are so nice, like, and they will do it, you know, just so like because you're friends and like they'll, even though they, you know, probably have a lot like better writers they could be writing with, but it's like super, you know, people are just nice and most people will like help you out, especially if you're friends. So like just doing things like that, like there have been a couple shows that like I wanted to play, but I was like, they wouldn't let me play that. But then like you just reach out and like you do it and then you make it happen, you know, and like things like that are, I guess like things that have been like, I wouldn't have done that before because I would have just like been like, not good enough. I can't do it, you know. But
so just reaching out.
Yeah, just reaching out, like, which seems like such a simple thing, but for me it was like such a hard thing to do that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think it just takes a lot of courage to reach out. And like if you don't know someone, it is scary. And it's like it is overcoming a fear of like, oh gosh, I don't feel good enough. Like, I want to do this, but like I don't, because I don't want to reach out to someone and they're really good. Yeah. But you never know what they're going to say. Right. So you might as well just reach out. Yeah. And if they say no, they say no.
Exactly.
But I think you literally don't know unless you don't try.
Yeah, it's so true. And like some of the best things that I like almost didn't like reach out to someone about, like almost didn't do it because I was like, they're not going to want to. Like the best things have come from that. So it's just always good just to try. Like, if they say no, like you said, like, oh well, on to the next thing.
You tried.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's for sure definitely not going to happen if you don't reach out, So you might as well give your best shot and try it.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap up, who would you say is Megan Golden now? How old are you? 22?
I am 22, yes.
Cool.
I don't know why that took me so long to think about, but yes, I am 22.
It gets harder as you get older,
I know.
apparently.
Getting old,
Yeah, like, who would you say is you now?
I would say, still a very, like, kind of, scared person of things. But like, I feel like I just do things. Like, if I have something I want to do, then I just do it now, which, was not me before. But I've gotten a lot better at just being like, this seems cool. Like, I'm, like, passionate about this. I want to do this. So I'm just, like, gonna do it, and I'm just not gonna, like, wait around and see what happens. I'm just gonna, give it my best shot and, like, do it. So that's kind of, like, where I feel like with all that stuff that I'm at right now. And I'm, like, a lot, I feel better, like, confidence-wise, like, better about myself than, like, I ever have before, just because I had lots of, like, confidence issues, but more confident in that, like, I can, I know what I can do, and, like, I know that, like, even though I, of course, have, like, lots of weaknesses, but, like, I also have strengths that, like, I need to be confident about, and, like, it's okay to do that, So that's kind of where I'm at right now, I guess.
When you were younger versus now, do you feel like you kind of tried to push the fear down and not even deal with it, and now you're, like, feeling it and allowing yourself to get over it?
I, like, didn't want to be like that. I mean, nobody does want to be like that. Right. So I was like, I feel like a lot of people thought I was, like, very confident in, like, what I was doing.
You're good at masking it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Professional masking all this stuff. So I was like, so people would always, like, say things like that, like, saying that I was, like, confident, whatever. And I was like, like, not at all, and there's, like, a lot more things, and I just had a lot of issues with that, but pretty good at masking it. But now, I feel like I'm more open about it now. It's still, like, hard, like even just, like, talking about it is difficult, because it's like, I don't want to talk about, like, all the fears that I have, because like, but it's good too, because it's like, be vulnerable about it and, like, let people know, and then, like, you can work on that, and, like, they can help you and, like, all that stuff. So
well, and I want to commend you for that, because I think when you share your process, you have ownership over it. And, like, what I've learned in my life too is shame has power in silence, and when you actually talk about what you're going through, the minute you're going through it, not later after you've overcome it, but now, that's when you really have to, like, that's when you have power over it. And I think I want to commend you for that, because otherwise, it will, like, eat you inside, and if you don't get to talk about it. And I think sharing it kind of with the world is the best way to do it sometimes too. Because I hope that you have, like, your core group of friends that you're sharing this with, which it sounds like you are. But also, I think it's incredible for people outside of your friend groups who don't really know you to hear, like, hey, she's going through this right now, yet she's able to talk about it, so can I.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's incredible that you're doing that. So
and it's so nice, like, thank you for, helping me do
that.
Yeah. But it's so nice, when you see, like, because part of, like, it makes it worse because you think you're, like, the only one. But then, like, when you talk about it, it's like, oh my gosh, everyone else, like, has, like, all these doubts and has all these things, like, going on. And it makes it easier to, like, somehow makes it easier to, like, deal with it yourself when you're not the only one, like, so you don't have to be down on yourself about it, because, like, we're all struggling with that. We can all kind of, like, lift each other up and like pull each other through it.
In all of your life, like, all your struggles and stuff, what do you feel like really pulled you out of everything? Because for me, it was always hearing other people's stories and seeing that they overcome something either similar or greater than me, and now they're, like, living extraordinarily. And when I say that, I just mean they're living with confidence, they're living with courage, they're living with strength, like, to me, and, like, living, like, having power over their shame too. So what has kind of pulled you through everything?
I would say for me, just, like, words of, like, encouragement from other people is, like, a huge thing for me. Like, I don't know why, but it just does, like, wonders for me, like, having people that, like, I trust and that I feel like are not like, you know, some people are always encouraging, which is like always a great way to be, but like even people who are like, I have some friends that are not necessarily not that they're like, you know, whatever, but like they are like they're honest, you know, and like them giving me like words of like encouragement just helps so much. And I'm like, it just, I don't know, it does a lot for me and like really pulls me out of those places where I like doubt myself and all that. So I would, words of encouragement are like huge for me. Like it, you know, just hearing it is really helpful for me.
It overpowers that voice in your head.
Yeah. Totally.
What's kind of an inspirational quote or maybe an event or like a Bible verse, anything like that, that has kind of either really helped you to like define your life or has helped you to get through whatever? I mean, I know you're saying words of encouragement, so that's probably a huge thing for you too. But is there any specific like event that's happened in your life or like, I don't know, or like an inspirational quote that's just like really pulls you through every time?
Yeah. So I have two, which is kind of funny because they're just very opposite of each other. But I'm not going to be able to remember it word for word. But there's cool. A Bible verse that's like talks about like being surrounded by a cloud of witnesses and like running the race and like how like the people that you're surrounded with, like running the race with them. Yeah. That's like a good one for me because of like the words of encouragement being a big thing. To me, it's like I feel like there's so many things in my life. Like I don't know where I would be like if I didn't have that group of people to like just, you know, carry me through all that. So that's one. And then the other one is a Will Ferrell quote. But I don't know if you've seen his commencement speech that he did. Well, it was pretty good. You should check it out. It's probably on YouTube or wherever.
Like where did he do the speech at though?
I think it was like at the University of Southern California, maybe.
They
or
would
something.
Get him.
Yeah, of course. So he like did a commencement speech, and there's a quote from it. It's of course really funny because it's Will Ferrell. But the quote was something about like how like he, you know, people were like would, you know, tear him down and stuff and like write bad things about him, but like he didn't care because he was too busy throwing darts at the dartboard. And, like, I just like that. Like, I have that, like, written in my room, like, keep throwing darts at the dartboard. But it was just talking about, like, he knew, like, he wanted to do, like, comedy. And so he just tried every single way. So he was, like, doing stand-up. And he was like, I was really bad at stand-up. And he was, like, you know, just doing, like, all these different, like, routes of it. And, like, just kept trying to do things and, like, working hard at it. And, like, not focusing on what was going on around him. He just, like, kept throwing darts at the dartboard until that's one, cool. like, you know, was a bullseye. And now he's Will Ferrell, and everyone knows exactly, like, who Will Ferrell is, you know?
Loves him.
So I just love that because it's, like, to me, like, motivating is, like, you know, there's so many ways to go about doing music, so many different avenues you can take, especially, like, now. It's, like, changing drastically. So it's, like, just keep trying things, you know? And, like, there's not just one way to do it. Just keep going for it.
I love that. Yeah.
I thought it was a cool quote. You should watch the speech. It's a pretty good speech.
Is it funny and...
Oh, of course. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he sings I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. You know, it's pretty quality. Probably the best version you'll ever hear of it.
Oh, no.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. All right. So where can people find you on your social media? Because everybody knows who watches Megan Golden's Instagram stories. She is super personal and it's funny. She loves Diet Coke. She loves to like sing and like do lip syncing in her.
Yeah. I'm a professional. For someone who's trying to do music, I do a lot of lip syncing along the things. Maybe I should just be a professional lip syncer.
That would be a really cool job, I'm just saying.
I might look into that. Yeah. I don't know where you apply for that. We'll figure it out. I'm on Instagram, which is at Megan A. Golden. Megan is Megan, and Golden is just like the color. And then also on Twitter at that same place, facebook.com/Megan Golden Music. And I have a website, which is www.megangolden.com. And there's links to all the social media on there if you have any trouble finding it.
There you go. Thank you so much for listening to the What's Your Life Journey podcast with our second guest, Megan Golden. Really appreciate having her on the podcast today. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, you can subscribe to our YouTube, Or if you want to see more exclusive, kind of uplifting and inspiring content, you can head to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/whatsyourlifejourney. We would love for you to join our community with that and be a part of something just inspiring and filled with incredible stories. Thank you so much for listening.